and you can introduce us. It's episode 12.
Says we're live on Facebook, so hello everybody. Welcome to Coffee Talk with Julie and Nate. Julie has coffee, I think, maybe, not this time. Oh, well that works. This is episode 12, and we are very excited to be here once again. This is really fun. I actually look forward to this every Monday. Well, it's night for me, but here you are. And yeah, I think we have a couple things to talk about, but I wanted to start, and maybe even this will be the whole time, but I think you have a class coming up this weekend, right?
I do. I'm so excited. It starts Friday evening with an intro for those who just want to stick their little toes in the water and see what it's all about. And then
So how does that work? Is it like Friday evenings for a couple hours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then you can choose to take the Friday night and then continue to is it 2 full days then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably don't remember because you were stuck in India and it was the complete opposite time of day.
I do remember. It's the class. Well, the class is committing to your life.
Committing to your living.
See? Committing
Because
to your
having a
living.
life, you're done. And living is this ongoing adventure.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Well, when people say I've had a good life, it's a conclusion. Or,
Okay.
What do you want to do for your life? It's a conclusion. But living is this ongoing, continual, generative energy where there is no conclusion. It's an adventure. There's all kinds of possibilities, and it's just much more expansive than, living in your conclusion of, okay, this is my life, and that's all there is to it.
Okay. So it's more about just the continuation of possibilities and not locking into a decision of what it's supposed to be or has to look like or things like that. So committing to your living, and how did you come up with this class? Why? This is a Julie Tootin specialty class, right?
It is.
Right. So you're the person who does this class.
Yes.
And why did you come up with this?
Well, it was probably 4 years ago. I was doing my monthly telecalls, the Zooms that I do on Wednesday evenings. And this one particular day, I just had this whole download of all of these places that ended up being steps in the committing to your living. So just the first part was holding back, everywhere you're holding back and not actually being you and being present in your life and choosing what you want to choose, playing small. And then there's just always giving in to everybody else's needs, wants, desires, requires. So I just wrote down all of these areas where we've given ourselves away, and I did individual 1-hour calls on each of them, and there were about 10 of them. And at the end of doing all of those in a series over the months, I was like, wow, this whole body is an amazing immersion class that could be 2.5 days. And I added body processes. And then I talked to Gary about it at one of the Costa Rica classes. I'm not sure if it was a 7-day or facilitators. And he's like, go ahead, do it.
Cool.
Get to work.
So this kind of came out of just the telecalls that you were naturally facilitating anyway.
Yes, and it seems like what I do is I tap into the future of what I perceive energies that I'd like to shift and change in the world. And I don't know, it's just part of, I guess, the way that I function and play. I play with energies in the future, and then I create them. And so I kept coming up against all these walls, like the places that I was telling you, hiding, playing small, being stuck in other people's realities, all of these things. And I couldn't understand why I was so affected by it. And then I was talking to a friend, and she's like, "Is this a class?" And I was like, "Oh, right. Hello."
Nice.
So I wrote them all down and did all of the classes, and yeah, and then it became this bigger creation.
So with the idea of committing to your living, I mean, for you, was it like just one day saying, that's it, I'm done being uncommitted and like making the commitment? Or is it sort of a gradual process over time where you realize that choosing to be committed to your living is creating greater?
It's
Like, is it
absolutely an ongoing choosing, choosing, choosing. I mean, you can make the big demand, and I did that years ago,
mhm.
but like we do
Wait,
it in certain
all right,
areas. What?
talk about that first.
The big demand?
You said we make the big demand, and I did that years ago.
Right.
So, I
So
mean, what is that? And then what if you have never made a big demand? I mean, do you have to make a big demand?
um, I think yes. It doesn't have to look any particular way, but it is definitely a big choice. It's a demand on yourself to be that and choose towards that every day. And what it looked like for me was in a class, I think it was here in Corte Madera when Gary and Dane were here. I'm not sure what class it was, but they were talking about having the back door open
Mm-hmm.
and really choosing to commit to your life, closing the back door and be present and choose what it is that you're doing, and not have it be this place where, well, if this shows up or that shows up, I'm out of here. And that's what a lot of people do at the back door.
So, what was the demand that you made?
The demand was to shut the back door
Okay.
and to be fully present, choosing what I'm choosing. And if you don't like what you're choosing, you can go out the front door, but it's not like some little sneaky escape route. And it's also like closing the door on, you know, any other option, like death is not an option.
Okay.
I am here and I am living, and I'm not going to use, well, if this doesn't work, I can just die and try again, because a lot of people have that as an option. But for me, it's not, because I know that after your body goes, that you continue on, and you continue on with the level of consciousness that you have. You don't just all of a sudden become, omnipresent when you
Right.
leave your body. So for me, I've always wanted to be more and more and more and more and more aware and never stop.
Okay.
So that is part of the commitment.
So, this idea of a back door, is this kind of like keeping in touch with your ex when you get a new girlfriend? Or like, what does it mean? Like, you're choosing greater and bigger and more. Like, oh, I'm going to choose to be an access facilitator, but I'm going to secretly be doing some part-time work on the side that's unrelated. Or like,
Mm,
what does that mean?
well, when I was choosing to close the back door, I was actually married,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to like fully recognize that I was fully choosing the marriage, which, you know, I guess I was, but you always think, well, if they do this, then I'm out of here or whatever. And you think that you can go out the back door instead of dealing with the person that you're in the marriage with or relationship or whatever, and like face to face, and being honest with yourself as well as them. So eventually I did leave the marriage, but I talked about it and I said, hey, this isn't working for either of us. Let's change
Right.
it.
Okay. So it's
But that
not
was the front
it's not
door.
an avoidance or a ducking out or a sneaking away, or
Right.
it's sort of facing up to the issue and handling it. And suddenly, actually, as we're talking about this, it makes me think about the idea of being an adult of consciousness. Is like you face up to the issue and say, like, this is what is going on, this is the reality of the situation, and i need to I need to handle this, you know.
Yeah. And it's not that like heavy and sad. It's actually quite thrilling because you're you're like finally in the driver's seat of your
Did I
life
not blow enough
instead of in the
trumpets when
back
I talked
seat.
about it? Should I have had like some streamers and stuff? I'm sorry.
No, but it's just like um, the thing is that committing is one of your superpowers, and when you commit to you, then you have all of your power and potency to create what you want in the world. And many people don't see that. They think, well, they're committed to everything else but themselves for whatever reason.
So this would be like a commitment to, say, your job or your family or your children or your spouse or whatever that is. So it's making a commitment to someone or something kind of in place of yourself.
Yep.
And then in making that commitment, you sort of cut off parts and pieces of yourself, or like shrink yourself down to fit into all the different places.
Yeah, usually you've lost you. And we think it's the right thing to do to commit to everything else. That's what you're supposed to do, but are you really present? Are you really there fully
Mm-hmm.
engaged? Or have you given yourself up for the commitment? So when you commit to you, you have you. It's like you have this gold mine from which to give and contribute and receive more of you and more of everybody else in your life, your job, your partner.
So in doing so, it isn't necessarily cutting out or eliminating all of these other connections or commitments, but it's sort of prioritizing the commitment to you and your living instead of those.
Yeah, it's basically including you. It's like, when you're on an airplane and you're supposed to put the oxygen mask on first and then assist others. But everywhere else, we're always running around trying to help everybody else, and then you feel deficient and just empty. But like if you committed to you fully, then everything that you choose and everything that you touch and everyone that you touch receives exponentially more because you are there and you are choosing and you are like behind it 100%, 1,000%.
Okay. And how would you handle that if your commitment to yourself then, I don't want to use the word negatively, but like you're committing to yourself and you realize that you are currently involved in a situation or engaged in some relationship or what have you, circumstance where you should probably get out of it if you are committed to your own living.
Is that a question?
Right. So,
I mean, that's part of it. When you're committed to you, you have total choice.
right.
And you can look at the different choices, including you and including everybody else. If I choose this, what will that create? If I choose that, what will that create? And, what am I choosing? What am I creating in the world? But normally, when you're not committed, you do things out of obligation that you don't necessarily want to do. So you're not fully in it.
Right.
And you're trying to make somebody else happy and you're not happy. It's all backwards.
Actually, when you just were talking about using the question of, if I choose this, what will this create? If I choose that, what will that create? Um, Actually, today I went for kind of a run, and almost every time I go, I'm always listening to Access classes. Like, I always have something on. I thought about making an Instagram called Running with Access instead of Running with Scissors, and like just had it like every time I go, do a picture and then sort of the soundtrack for the run and the like takeaway from the class from that whatever. Anyway, this is just thinking. But today I was listening to the COP with Brendan from December, and he was talking about someone asked a question about sort of knowing, and it's like, I know everything, so I don't have to learn anything. And instead it was like, your perception, your awareness is for now in this 10 seconds, and things are always changing. And so it's like, I know everything, what else can I know? You know, and being in the question. And it was, I wish I could articulate it more clearly, but for me, it was such a reinforcement of the importance of questions. I mean, and that's been a theme for me in the last couple weeks, months, has been, man, questions are such an amazing tool. Such an amazing tool. And when you become more aware of the energy of question and asking questions, you also become more aware of everywhere that everyone is in decision and conclusion and computation. And you hear things come out of people's mouths and you just want to shake them and just be like, no, that's not, what are you doing? Like, yeah. I was watching a Korean TV drama with someone, and there was like, you know, it's the sad situation, whatever. And one of the protagonists was like, well, you know, life is just shitty and hard for everybody. And the person I was watching it with was like, yes, that's exactly correct. I was like, no, you can't. What do you do?
It's as good as it gets.
Yeah. And every time I hear that, man.
Yeah.
Questions are so amazing.
Yeah.
And questions are so amazing, whether it's a bad situation or a good situation. Whatever is going on, you can always, always, always ask a question and be in the question and look at, like, what question can I be to create more? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's really, it's a process to not go to directly answering that question once you've asked it, you know, like actually let the universe contribute to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an art.
And also, I mean, asking the question, so this has been my experience, is when it's like we'll say bad situation, is asking the question, what's right about this that I'm not getting? And immediately I always want to go into an answer. I always want to get like a kind of like grasping at straws, like, give me something right about this. Give me something right about this that I'm not getting. But just being aware that whatever is being created, there is something about this that is a contribution, it's a creation, it is going to provide awareness. So, you know, you miss the bus or you miss the plane, or like there's like any number of situations where you've made a plan and a decision about the way it has to be, and then something shows up that's, quote, out of your control, and then you're like, all right, what's right about this? And as you just said, you don't need an answer. You just need to be in the question of allowing possibilities.
And simply having the courage to ask that question breaks you out of pouring all your energy into the negativity of what you think is occurring. And it actually like allows something different to show up by being slightly curious about what else could be going on that you weren't necessarily looking at or aware of.
And it just makes you a more enjoyable person to hang out with. I mean, that's just on a very super basic level. But if you're with people who are always complaining and groaning and moaning about terrible situations, you don't want to hang out with those people.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. It's more fun to be alone. You know, when you're alone, you're like, oh, I'd love to hang out with somebody and talk with somebody. And then you get somebody to hang out and talk with, and it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. And that's another, I mean, almost unrelated, but it's another thing that has been such a gift for me from Access, is being able to be aware of that and not judge it, but just be aware of where people are functioning from, and how I don't want to function from that. I'm not interested in being like that.
Yeah.
And my dislike of complaint and complaining it's been on just it keeps going up.
It's interesting because this morning on this other series that I started today, Create Your Day with Ease, Joy, Glory, I talked about as we say, all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. It's, you know, it's obviously not about everything being perfect. And what happens is you expand your awareness and you have all of these things, and it's like, if you're in resistance to them, if you're in resistance to people complaining, you know, you're not allowing the ease, joy, and glory. So you have to relax. You have to relax and allow the barriers to come down, and to actually be an allowance of everything that you're aware of. And from that space, then you can choose to put your creative energy into what you'd like to create. And you probably very elegantly get out of the situation where the person's complaining. Oops,
Yeah.
call or whatever. But the point is that you're still going to be aware of it, and it's not your job to change it, because consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. So it's like it's included in your awareness, but you don't have to judge it. You don't have to make it wrong. It's not right. It's just, oh wow, they're complaining. Okay, what would I like to choose? Where can I put my energy?
So something that I've been doing for the last couple weeks is I've been saying that all life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And I've been doing that fairly regularly. Like, I spend a lot of time driving around the city, and so I'll do that while I'm driving around. Mm-hmm. And the reason I started laughing is because one of the nights I actually came out of the grocery store and like got on my scooter to drive home, and I started saying all life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, and within 5 minutes I was pulled over and given a ticket. And I was just like, it was super funny. I mean, it's still funny, obviously. And so just looking at that and realizing, like, yeah, I was aware of something going on there, and I overrode my awareness.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and having it sort of occur while I was saying that, like, it was just hysterical. It was so funny. So funny.
What's right
Yeah.
about that you weren't getting?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been even more aware since then. Like, the awareness is through the roof.
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like all what comes to me with these and joy and glory isn't
Right.
like la 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 la.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me is a lot of people think all that comes to me with ease and joy and glory is this, it magically makes it like a good life, and that doesn't necessarily happen. I mean, it's your choices, your choice and your awareness and your creation. And all of life coming to me with ease and joy and glory helps you to get out of judgment of what you create and of yourself and of what shows up, right? So, I mean, I'm not excited to get a ticket, but like, all right, I'm not judging myself as I would have a couple years ago. And what's right about this that I'm not getting? Well, let me tell you, the awareness of me driving around the city now is way higher than it used to be. Like, that's one possibility.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just what it reminded me of. So
So the
every
awareness thing, it's like this thing that grows over time, kind of like well, like everything.
yeah.
It grows over time and things get easier.
Um, so every Monday, usually we finish this and then you do an energy pull. And you
Mhm.
said also this week you're doing what is it called? Start your day with
Start your day, create your day with ease, joy, and glory. Yeah.
Day with ease, joy, and glory, right? And
Yeah. We
that's
just started today, so people can still join.
and how do they do that?
I will put a link in the chat. It's on my website. Create your day with ease, joy, and glory.
So create a day with ease, joy, and glory is every morning for how long?
10 minutes. 10 minutes in
Okay.
the morning. And for people in different time zones, you can watch it whenever you like because it's on Facebook.
And
Facebook
this is going
Live.
to be for like a week or so?
It's 7 days.
And
And
is there
then,
anything, I mean, let's say that I want to wake up with ease, joy, and glory, and I also want to go to sleep with ease, joy, and glory. Do you also have like a nighttime option?
yes, the after that one ends, I'm going to be doing Create While You Sleep, which is a little bit different. It's going to be longer um, exercises in expanding um, and being different energies so that you can create things while you sleep. It's very cool.
Okay. And that's going to be next week then.
Yeah, that's at the end of the month.
You made kind of like a creation machine recently. I always see like all this stuff
I've
coming up.
always been a super creator, and since I have so much jewelry stock and not a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of people coming in,
Right.
and a lot of my suppliers are not working anymore, so I'm like, okay, what else can I create? So I'm creating lots of classes and things because that's fun too.
Wait, suppliers for like
The
the raw
chain,
materials for you
yeah,
to create jewelry.
yeah.
Are they not working temporarily, or are they just like done?
Well, hopefully it's temporarily.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for trying to keep their distance and all of that. I
Right.
I don't even
Okay.
want to go into
No,
that.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I know it gets a little tricky sometimes with stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants jewelry,
You have stuff for men?
I have all kinds of good deals. You can FaceTime me for
You have
price.
stuff for guys?
I do.
Anything that I would like?
I might. Yep. We'll have to FaceTime for a private showing.
Oh, I was gonna
Yeah,
say you can bring some things and talk about them next Monday, and be like, oh, how about this one?
I, I could.
People can vote.
Okay.
No earrings for Nate. Bad idea.
All right.
Well, you have to go, I guess.
I do. Our
And the
time
other
just
thing,
flies by.
it does
Um,
actually.
and we are happy to answer questions and talk about subjects that people have, um, that they want to bring up. So you're always welcome to post things in the chat or post things in the group before we do one of our lives so that we can talk about your issues and what you want to hear about.
Or if you don't want to talk about it in the group, send either one of us a message and say, please keep me anonymous.
Oh,
But
yes, we can do that too.
here's the issue.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Anything to, make your life easier and happier and more fun.
Exactly. Well, Miss Julie, it was nice to see you.
Gloria says, it's an amazing time with both of you. Wish it lasts longer. Oh, that's cool.
Thanks, Gloria.
Thank
She also
you.
said hi when she jumped on earlier, but I got distracted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, look at how awesome this is. We've been consistent for 12 weeks.
That's pretty incredible,
That
actually.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, you have fun. And at the latest, I will see you in a week. I'm looking forward
Okay.
to my big gold necklace or whatever you have. All right. We'll see you later.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.